Hi guys, it's John from Android Addicts, and today we're doing a benchmark comparison test between the Rog Phone 5 and the Galaxy S21. So this is my Snapdragon 888 S21, and obviously the Rog Phone 5 also comes with the 888. So it's just a test really to see if there are actually any differences between the OS. Let's turn off X mode. We don't want anything affecting the performance here. So is the Asus going to beat the Galaxy S21? Do Samsung apparently tune down the Snapdragon in their Samsung phones? Let's find out, because I'm quite interested to know really, because every time I do a video people seem to comment saying that Samsung are, underclocking the Snapdragon on the S21, and I haven't seen any evidence of that particularly, but hopefully in these tests we will find out. So we're going to run through the Geekbench test as we're doing here, and then we're just going to go on to the AnTuTu test, and then we'll finish with the 3D Mark test. I'll just skip to the end because this one is a bit of a boring test, so we'll just come back when the results are done. So the Rog Phone 5 has finished first here, and we can see that the single core score between the two, there's only 2 points in it, so that's very similar. And the multi-core, however, is actually better on the Rog Phone 5, so 3680 versus 3494. So let's just go through the results here. You can see, like I said before, exact same CPU, same architecture, everything is exactly the same number of cores obviously, and the same clock speeds. I'll just scroll through these if you want to compare them. So really it's the multi-core score here which is the main difference. So just slightly better scores really for the Asus here compared to the S21. Okay, we're going to go on to the compute benchmark now and see how that gets on. Now this is where the S21 did struggle versus the Exynos version. It did seem to be a bit worse at computing than the Exynos, so it'll be interesting to see whether the Asus performs any better or not. So some very interesting results here, because now the S21 has got a higher score than the Rog Phone 5, so 4613 versus 4647. So I'll just scroll down to the bottom here so we can see the performance results. And you'll notice that I've also got the floating system temperature widget here, so we can see Asus running 29 degrees, Snapdragon on the S21 is running a bit warmer, or the whole phone is running a bit warmer at 31 degrees. Okay, time for the AnTuTu test now. Now what you'll notice is X mode decides to turn itself on every now and again. Not sure what happened there. On the Rog Phone 5. So you'll notice me quickly press it to turn it off. You can not sure what's happening here. They have finally loaded up. But yeah, I'll keep on disabling it when it turns itself on, just to make it as fair a test as possible. So let's just leave them to it now and see how they get on. Okay, so some interesting results there. As we can see, the ROG Phone 5 scored a bit higher in this current test compared to the S21. And personally, I thought the S21 actually looked a bit smoother, certainly in most of the sort of gaming tests there. So the terracotta one, for example, although you could see the Snapdragon on the S21 was getting up to about 39 degrees, the Asus was only around 33, 34, so it does get quite warm on the S21. Now I don't have any cooling, I don't have the cooling fan for the ROG Phone 5, so interesting. You can see here in the graphs that the max temperature throughout the whole of the test was 33.9 on the ROG Phone 5 compared to 38.6 on the S21. So yeah, thermals are definitely better on the ROG Phone 5, which isn't surprising really because it's built specifically for gaming. So overall, this test shows that they're pretty similar, apart from the fact that the S21 does actually get quite a bit warmer. They do perform at about the same standard. Okay, we've got both phones at 30 degrees now, so we're going to run this stress test and see how they both get on. I will just skip to the end of this because it's just a screen with the test on it, so we'll see what the results are like after the test. Okay, so some very, very interesting results here. Okay, so let's start with the temperature. You can see that the temperature of the S21 was getting much hotter than the ROG 5. So 41 degrees compared to 35 degrees on the ROG. So a lot warmer on the S21, as we can see. But interestingly, when we come to look at the CPU performance and the cores as well, we can see that there is actually some throttling happening on the ROG Phone 5. So that's something I didn't expect to see really. Now X mode is turned off, so there's no performance benefits coming from that. So this is out of the box what your ROG Phone 5 will perform like. So initially, for the first couple of minutes, it's okay, and then it just gives up completely around the sort of 4-minute mark, and we have a throttling at around 2 gigahertz. Whereas the S21, again, we haven't got enhanced processing turned on, we haven't got game boost or anything turned off. It's all just as it would be out of the box. And again, as we've seen in previous tests I've done with the S21, it's just happily beavering away at its full potential. Okay, we're going to move on to the 3D Mark Wildlife test now. So we're both starting at around 32, 33 degrees here, so it'll be interesting to see again how hot the S21 gets. Okay, so as I expected here, very similar here. We've got 5741 versus 5720. Average FPS 34.4 on the ROG Phone 5 compared to 34.3. I'll put some screenshots on the screen just so you can compare them easier. But I'll move on to the next test now, which is going to be the slingshot test. Okay, so slingshot scores here, we can see, I'll put them on the screen as well. The S21 has a score of 8098, whereas the ROG Phone 5 has actually maxed out its score, so we'll then have a look and compare the FPS in each graphics test. So the ROG Phone 5 here, you can see X mode was still turned off, but we managed 78.6 on the graphics test 1 versus 61.6 on the S21. Graphics test 2, 44.8 versus 35.6. But interestingly, the physics test on the S21 was actually better in every single test. So physics-wise, although the score didn't get maxed out, I'm not quite sure how that works out, the FPS was actually much better on the S21. So again, I'll put some screenshots on the screen so you can have a look and compare. But yeah, it's quite an interesting score. Okay, so I wasn't originally going to include the X mode results for the Asus Rog Phone 5, but I woke up this morning and I thought it's not really very fair, is it, to do that. And you probably noticed throughout the video I kept saying I was turning X mode off, just to keep them on a level playing field really, just to see what they were like sort of out of the box. But of course, X mode turning itself on, it's probably going to be on for most people anyway, so I thought why not just redo the tests. I'm not going to make you sit through and watch them all. I've already done them all, but this is quite interesting really. So although the single core is now increased by a point over the S21, I mean, it was still beating it in the multi-core if we have a look at the history here. 3680, 3679. So it has increased on the compute score over the S21, which it was slightly losing out on yesterday. So it has definitely helped overall in Geekbench. Now, the main difference, as you probably would imagine, is the AnTuTu score. So we've gone from what, 740,000 to well over 800,000 now. And even though the phone still only got to about 30 degrees, which is quite impressive, it is, let's have a look, in comparison to 38.6. If we have a look at the stress test, which I also did, this is where the main differences can be seen. So I'm going to put these on the screen just to make them easier to see. You can now see an almost perfectly straight line for each core on the ROG Phone 5. The performance as well is well over 80% compared to where it was hovering around 60% without X mode turned on. So X mode does make a massive difference there for the ROG 5. So let's have a look at the 3D Mark results as well. So I've redone the wildlife test here. So we can see we've gone up to 5826 now. Average frame rate is a tiny bit higher, 34.9. I mean, to be honest, with that one, you're not going to notice a huge amount of difference. Now, the maxed out slingshot test here, we've got huge increases in FPS here. Let's just compare it to our previous one. So we had 78, 44, 66, 44, and now we're getting 94, 58, 88, 54. So it's a huge increase, certainly on the slingshot test at least. So yeah, sorry to just shove this in at the end. Like I said, originally I hadn't planned to include any X mode results, but I had a change of heart overnight and I have put them in now. So hopefully you can see that obviously either phone you get, if you're going to get one or the other, it depends on the price and it depends on your own use case for it. If you're a huge gamer, you're going to go for a gaming phone anyway. But if you want a phone that you can play games on as well, then the Snapdragon S21 series is absolutely fine for gaming as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click on the like button and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. If you want to become a member of the channel, you can click on the join button, that really helps out. And yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.